If I asked you to think of gaming's biggest rivalries, what comes to your mind? Mario vs Sonic? Or maybe you're more of a Call of Duty versus Battlefield type of person that dominated the whole 360/PS3 era. You might also go for the recent rivalry that was Fortnite versus PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. But for my money, nothing was more intense and interesting than the rivalry between FIFA and Pro Evolution Soccer. FIFA, or as it was originally known, FIFA International Soccer, is seen today as the premier video game for the world's most popular sport. Created by EA and officially licensed by football's major governing body, FIFA was an immediate hit as it was seen as a clear step up from previous football simulation games. Everyone flocked to it until 1997 when a certain company in Japan planned to take over the football gaming industry. Konami released the Winning 11 franchise and offered a much needed rival to FIFA's dominance. It all started with International Superstar Soccer Pro, an awful name that it gave to Winning 11 in the West on the PS1. Konami's premier sports franchise did not have the support of FIFA, leading to things like but what they did have was superior gameplay and graphics. And these two factors will serve as the bedrock for this insane rivalry. It was simple for us back then. FIFA or PES. Did you shoot with square or did you shoot with circle? FIFA had all the accurate teams, the accurate leagues and the correct players. PES had things like Man Red instead of Man United. And most of the teams had a tendency to be a bit more out of date than their EA counterparts. But it made up for all these shenanigans with fluid gameplay. FIFA relied on CPU-aided gameplay to create flashier moments and goals, but it also led to more misplaced passes and bad shots. In PES, gameplay was more tactical and deliberate, and non-player mistakes were far less common. These differences were the most prominent in the early PS2 era. Even EA knew that they had to improve their gameplay, as can be seen in the quote by Gary Peterson, a man that ended up becoming one of FIFA's lead designers in the future. PES was a massive influence in the beginning. I don't think there was another sports game that created such varied, emergent, emotive gameplay back then. I loved it. It was a healthy competition, and for nearly a decade, both companies flourished. So what happened? 2007 marked the start of a few things. Firstly, it was the year the PS3 and 360 finally left the shadows of their older brothers, and it was the first time FIFA blew PES out of the water since the turn of the new millennium, and it only got worse as the years went by. But what caused this? Well, that's actually a very complicated answer. Firstly, PES got far too confident while FIFA continuously made improvements to their gameplay. PES started to focus more on presentation, on things like obtaining the Champions League and getting the right team names, everything that they did not stand for before. The same PES that was renowned for its high-end responsiveness started to suffer in performance, and it became extremely obvious in the new generation of consoles. But that was just the beginning. PES could have survived if not for two major reasons. The first and the most important can only be Ultimate Team, EA's Golden Goose. While PES focused on getting the Champions League, which for all intents and purposes didn't add much to the gameplay, EA was busy crafting an online gaming sensation. Ultimate Team released in FIFA 09 as DLC and instantly became the best way to play online. FIFA and PES always had something that the other one had. FIFA had career mode, PES had Master League, etc. But this was different. PES just did not have a response. But the final reason for FIFA's continued dominance came from a place no one could have ever expected.
I cannot find one. Is now.
YouTubers such as KSI, Rotoshaw, Zerka, Nepenthes, and many more burst into the scene around FIFA 12 and gave the game so much free advertising. No young gamer wanted PES because that's where all their favorite creators and all their friends were probably playing. These same creators also actively insulted EA's main competitor. Combined with the ever-expanding FIFA Ultimate Team, PES was served their death knell, leading to Konami's brainchild slowly fading into obscurity. As I speak, PES is currently a free-to-play game called eFootball, and between you and me, it is not good. A botched launch, little game modes, and only 8 playable teams in exhibition almost had eFootball dead on arrival. It's a shame because in theory this is actually a great idea. Just imagine if eFootball had the quality of a Fortnite. That would definitely be a hit. How do I know this? Well, that's because when it first released in the free-to-play market, it topped PlayStation's monthly downloads ahead of games such as Fortnite, Warzone, and Rocket League. Those games don't get topped ever. They're always stagnant month by month. So just imagine what would have happened if it actually was good. The PR it would have gotten, and maybe people might have come over to play some eFootball. But the most frustrating part of all this is that FIFA is currently going through an interesting phase, and after a decade out of the race, this was Konami's way back onto the track. On the other side of the race, it seems FIFA and EA are splitting up. The TLDR is that while renewing the license, EA and FIFA could not come to a new agreement. The FIFA game you currently know, which should end in the upcoming FIFA 23, is going to be called EA Sports FC going forward. And if we ever see FIFA again, it will be alongside a brand new publisher. In my opinion, this is bad for all parties involved, especially since FIFA doesn't have the same pull it had back in their prime years between 2015 and 2018. So despite what both companies say, a split up was probably not the best for football's most influential game. Football games are at a crossroads. eFootball, while stumbling at the start, is still getting updates. And when it comes to comebacks, I have definitely seen crazier things happen. Out of everyone involved, EA are the most likely to maintain their success, but they shouldn't undervalue the power of brand recognition. Just look at companies like Apple or Google, and I have definitely had conversations with people that said they have no interest in buying EA's next game simply because it's not called FIFA. FIFA are actually the most interesting factor at the moment. They are like Schrodinger's cats. We don't know what they are going to do next. But replicating what EA was doing year on year is definitely easier said than done. As for we the consumers, we should be excited. This is the first sign of competition in years and might lead to something great as we move into the next era of this historic rivalry. If not, oh well, we can always look back at what was and still is gaming's greatest rivalry. Stay blessed.